How do you feel about removing the electoral college and replace it with the most votes wins format for national elections? You'd need an amendment to the Constitution for sure. Good luck with that in today's political climate, even if you were doing something people universally agreed on. The US electoral system needs a reform. One that is less winner takes all and gives third parties a chance as a moderating influence in case both big parties can't find a suitable candidate. But what that system should look like is beyond me. There are many electoral systems worldwide and they all have their pros and cons. Employers, careful what you ask for. I'm a physician in Brazil. Due to our labor laws, there's no absence for work without pay cut if you don't present a doctor's note. Some employers even demand ICD coding, which is unethical and abusive. I get a perverse pleasure when I can justify giving a longer leave to honest patients, together with a copy of the jurisprudence and how to talk firmly to the HR representative that they got no right to demand to know what the patient is on medical leave for. Hooray for you. I wish others could see through the BS as easily as you did. I'm retired now, but my hospital had signs up that said if you have the flu, stay home. But if you stayed out more than 2 days, you were suspended. Okay, now I have 3 more days off, without pay. How is that staffing the hospital? I'm telling you, morons are running the hospital. Good on you to notice and sympathize with not just the medial issues, but the social issues too. I'm glad you're in the field you're in. Well played. It's nice to see a doctor who really cares about patients. Till Gavrilo Princip, the student who assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand, believed he wasn't responsible for World War I, stating that the war would have occurred regardless of the assassination and he cannot feel himself responsible for the catastrophe. To be honest, these singular moments of history tend to be less impactful than you think. Europe was heading towards war for years and was basically just one incident/disaster away from it all burning down. It just so happened this was the specific incident that lit the bonfire. But if it hadn't happened then something else in the next decade or so would have. I tend to agree. His was the knife that killed Caesar, but the flurry of knives was there, working, regardless. He's right, Europe was tinder dry. He's not the one who invaded Serbia. During Ramadan, how do Muslim people with physically strenuous jobs ensure they don't pass out and can perform their job? As I understand it, there's an established tradition where, if your circumstances would put you at genuine risk of physical harm as a result of fasting, e.g., during illness, pregnancy, old age, or hard physical labor, you're not obliged to fast, or can make up for the fast later when you're able. Here in Pakistan, in some places, the hours for manual labor are changed. Instead of 8 HR labor from 8 AM to 4 PM, it's divided into 2 4 HRS labor. One in early morning around 6 AM to 10 AM and other to night 8 PM to 12 AM. Secondly, it is allowed that if one cannot fast due to labor, he can skip it and give some amount in charity, or he can fast later on when it's feasible. The answer to this is actually pretty simple. Fasting isn't required, or recommended really, if it be unsafe for you to do. For the same reason an Orthodox Jewish doctor can see a person having a medical emergency on the Sabbath and render aid, there are exceptions to almost all rules in every religion. Till the British Pet Massacre was a week-long event in 1939 in which an estimated 400,000 cats and dogs, a quarter of England's pet population, were killed so that food used for animals be reserved to prepare for World War II food shortages. Obligatory reminder that rationing didn't end until 1954, after the Korean War. In 1940, Brits were rationed to 1 egg per person per week. But my bunny eats grass. Till in us, millions of people sell their blood plasma for income, and the donation stations have business model designed to make the donors come back as much as possible. I did it for years. Twice a week, first time was $15, second was $25. They hook you with the bigger payout if you go a second time in a week. I have a permanent scar from the huge needle. It got me by when I needed it. Till this isn't something that happens elsewhere. Yup, collecting plasma is a poverty business. And it is definitely a business. That being said, it can be an easy side hustle. I make $440 a month going in twice a week. I chill and watch movies or shows on my phone for 45 minutes to an hour and a half, then walk out paid. Easy money, comes in handy between paychecks, and what the hell, helps some folks out. And while some other countries ban paying for plasma for one reason or another, they still buy US sourced plasma. You can't give me $5. I'm having flashbacks of training tellers like this. It's why I left banking. The absolute worst was the one who was confused that the customer had to pay for the total amount and the fee for a cashier's check. She couldn't understand guaranteed funds to save her soul. Working at 7-Elevens, we often would run low on small bills, especially on Sunday mornings with people purchasing the Sunday paper. Had a guy hit the ATM and then ask for change, no purchase. I told him I'm very low on cash, so this guy buys a pack of juicy fruit, 25 cents. I went to the safe that would give me $10 in quarters, 1s and 5s. Then proceeded to slowly count out 19 singles. He still called and complained. Just send me the invoice, so I sent it 14 times. The best way to get forgotten invoices paid I've ever seen was a very early web hosting company in the 90s. If the customer didn't pay on time, their website would get redirected to an error page saying site unavailable because company name doesn't pay bills on time. One of the places I work at, a large outpatient medical center, forgets to pay the satellite TV bill from time to time. You turn on the TV and there's a banner on the TV to call this number to pay your bill with no station availability. Our section will leave the TV on anyway, even after getting calls from administration to turn off all of the TVs. It's an absolute embarrassment. Till there isn't a single stop sign in Paris. Parisian here, we have a shitton of stoplights though. There are orders of magnitude more stop signs in the US than Europe. They are not the default for a cross here, more likely be regular right-of-way, lights, or a roundabout, especially the latter is much more common here than in the US. Before there was only one, but they removed it, sad face, till Reader's Digest still exists. My wife and kids watched traffic from the top of the Arc de Triomphe and were entertained for over an hour. It is insanity. To foot by accidentally buying 109 pounds of grapes and things just went downhill from there. They write math problems about you. When I was a cashier, I would give the seniors discount out to customers who were nice to me, just because it was a small way I could show my appreciation and have any control in my day, lol. Probably was that. What store sells 109 pounds of grapes for $8? I've never seen someone from Star to Valley post here. So cool. Do Starfruit next. You're my hero and I want to be like you in 25 years. Till that when the small town of Delton, Michigan received a foreign exchange student, the host family thought the Austrian boy had exaggerated his size. Bernhard Raimann A. was 6 feet 6 inches tall and B. wanted to play American football. He dominated local teams, got a college scholarship, and is in the NFL. Morten Andersen, one of the best kickers of all time, was a Dane who discovered football while studying abroad. I don't understand why they think he would exaggerate. I mean, haven't they heard of the famous Austrian bodybuilder? For some reason, it never occurred to me that American football would be popular in other countries. I know rugby is a thing, but I also feel like I've heard that American football is pretty far removed from it. To foot by yelling into my team's meeting, Jesus Christ, check my fucking calendar. I was not on mute. We had a guy do this. Another inane, redundant, time-sucking unproductive initiative is announced. One guy bellows out, "Hey, Jesus Christ, people." Meeting goes silent. He stutters, "Oh sorry, I just watched my neighbor wipe out on the sidewalk in front of my house with his snowblower." We all pretended to accept his explanation. Quick thinking, Sean. Proud of you. I treat Zoom meetings like firearms, always loaded. As long as the meeting is on, I'm not muted, even if I am. Camera can see me, even if it's off. On the plus side, maybe that person got the hint and will check your calendar first next time. Coworker was on night shift, at about 2 a.m., gets 5 emails about server issues from the CEO. After the 5th one he shouts, "God fucking damn it, CEO, I'm working on it," only to hear from across the open office, "Sorry," and CEO popping his head up. Realization of all our dreams and wishes. Thank you for the sacrifice. Till in South Korea, a 16th century letter written by a grieving pregnant widow to her late husband Yeong Tae was found in his grave in 1998, resting on his chest. Amazing that paper, or any article, buried in moist earth can survive 500 years. Then the Imjin Wars happened. Not a good time to be a widow, sad face. What is the disturbing backstory behind something that is widely considered wholesome? Sherman Kelly wrote the lyrics to Dancing in the Moonlight while recovering from a violent assault carried out on him and his girlfriend by a youth gang. He envisioned an alternative reality where people just dance and be happy all the time. It was his way of dealing with the trauma. Candyland was invented during the polio epidemic by retired school teacher Eleanor Abbott, who herself was recovering from polio. She invented the game to keep children entertained during their hospital stays who themselves were affected. Like and subscribe.